Hey everyone, and welcome back to Thesaurus Thrive. You know that feeling when you understand English perfectly, but when it's your turn to speak, the words just don't sound quite right? Or maybe you feel like your pronunciation isn't as clear as you'd like it to be?
Oh, absolutely, Lily. It's such a common struggle, isn't it? You can read and write beautifully, but then you open your mouth and it's like, is that really me speaking? It's frustrating when you know the words, but they don't flow out naturally.
Exactly. Well, today we have an amazing, super effective technique that can transform how you sound when you speak English. It's a game changer for pronunciation, intonation, and even your rhythm. We're talking about shadowing practice.
Shadowing practice. That sounds intriguing. I've heard the term before, but I'm not entirely sure what it involves. I bet many of our listeners are in the same boat. What exactly is shadowing, and how can it help us sound more like native speakers?
Great question, Ava. At its core, shadowing is very simple. It's basically mimicking a native speaker as closely as possible, almost at the same time as they're speaking. Think of it like being a shadow. You follow their every move, but in this case, their every sound.
So I listen to something, and then I try to repeat it right away, almost simultaneously?
Precisely. You're not just repeating after them with a pause. You're trying to speak along with them. It sounds a bit tricky at first, right? But the magic happens because you're focusing intensely on every detail. Their pronunciation, their stress on certain words, the rhythm of their sentences, and even their intonation, how their voice goes up and down.
Wow, that sounds like a full-body workout for your mouth and ears. So it's not just about saying the words correctly, but also getting the music of the language right?
Exactly. English isn't just a collection of words, it has its own melody. And shadowing helps you internalize that melody. It trains your mouth muscles. Yes, you have mouth muscles for speaking to make new sounds, and it trains your ears to hear the subtle differences that make a huge impact on how natural you sound.
That makes so much sense. Sometimes I feel like my mouth just isn't used to making certain English sounds, and they feel a bit awkward. So this is like building muscle memory for speaking English?
You hit the nail on the head, Ava. It's absolutely about building muscle memory. Think about a baby learning to speak. They're not studying grammar rules. They're imitating sounds, rhythms, and patterns. Shadowing taps into that natural, intuitive way of learning. It helps you bypass overthinking and just feel the language.
That's a really powerful analogy. So instead of trying to analyze every sound, I'm just immersing myself and mimicking. But I guess the big question is, how do we actually do it effectively? What's the step-by-step process?
Okay, let's break it down into simple, actionable steps. Step number 1, choose your material wisely. This is super important. You want something that's not too fast, not too slow, and something you find interesting. A good starting point could be a short podcast segment, a YouTube video with clear audio, or even a scene from a movie you love with subtitles.
So something that's engaging, right? Not just any random audio. And with subtitles, that would be helpful for checking what I'm saying.
Absolutely. If you're not interested, you won't stick with it. And yes, subtitles or a transcript are fantastic, especially when you're starting. They help you connect the sounds you're hearing with the words you're seeing. For example, if you're watching a cooking show and the host says, "Let's get cracking," you'll see the phrase and hear how they pronounce it, including the intonation.
That's a great real-life example. So step 2, once I have my material, what's next?
Step 2, listen first. Don't try to shadow immediately. Just listen to the chosen segment once or twice. Understand the general meaning. Get a feel for the speaker's pace and overall tone. This helps your brain prepare.
So I'm not worried about repeating yet, just absorbing the sounds and the message.
Exactly. Think of it as warming up your ears. For instance, if you pick a short news report, listen to the first 30 seconds. Don't worry about repeating anything yet. Just listen for the overall message and the speaker's style.
Okay, got it. And then comes the actual shadowing, right?
Yes, step 3, start shadowing. This is where you play the audio again, but this time you try to speak along with the speaker, like a shadow. Don't pause the audio. Try to match their speed, their rhythm, their pitch. If they say, "Good morning, everyone," you say, "Good morning, everyone," right after, or even slightly overlapping. The key is to try to sound exactly like them.
This sounds challenging, Lily. What if I can't keep up, or what if I mess up a word?
That's completely normal, Ava, and it's perfectly okay. This isn't about perfection, it's about practice. Don't stop if you make a mistake. Just keep going. The goal is to train your mouth and ears. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. You're building that muscle memory we talked about. For example, if you're shadowing a sentence like, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," just keep going even if you trip over jumps.
Okay, that's reassuring. So just push through and keep mimicking. What about if the speaker is too fast?
Good point. If it's too fast, you can often slow down the playback speed in YouTube settings or in your podcast app. Start at 0.75x or even 0.5x if needed. It's better to do it slowly and accurately than quickly and incorrectly. The main thing is to get the feel of the sound, the connection of words, the intonation. You can always increase the speed later.
That's a smart tip. I always forget about the speed adjustment. So once I've shadowed a short segment, what's step 4?
Step 4. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Don't just do a segment once and move on. Listen to that same short piece and shadow it multiple times. 5, 10, even 15 times. Each time, you'll notice new things. Maybe the first time you just got the words. The second time, you focused on the stress. The third time on the intonation. Repetition is key to solidifying those neural pathways.
Ah, like drilling it into your brain and mouth. So it's not about covering a lot of material quickly, but really mastering a small piece?
Exactly. Quality over quantity. It's much more effective to deeply practice a 2-minute clip than to rush through 20 minutes of new material. For instance, take a sentence like, "I'm really looking forward to our meeting tomorrow." Practice that phrase until it feels natural, until you can say it without thinking, with the correct stress on really and meeting and the natural fall of intonation at the end.
That makes total sense. And I suppose step 5 would be to expand, right?
Yes, step 5. Gradually increase the length and complexity. Once you feel comfortable shadowing a 30-second clip, try a 1-minute clip, then maybe 2 minutes. As your confidence and skill grow, you can try more complex material, like a fast-paced documentary or even a heated debate if you're up for the challenge.
So it's all about building up, like climbing a ladder. Start with the bottom rung and slowly make your way up.
Precisely. And remember, the goal isn't just perfect pronunciation of individual words. It's about sounding natural when you speak, connecting words using correct rhythm. This is how native speakers talk. They don't say each word separately, they link them together. For example, "I want to eat an apple" becomes more like "I want to eat an apple."
Oh, that's a huge point. I always notice that when I listen to native speakers. It's like their words blend together. Shadowing would really help with those natural contractions and reductions, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Shadowing is brilliant for that. It forces your mouth to mimic those connections without you even thinking about the grammar rules. You just hear "wanna" and your mouth tries to make that sound, instead of "want to." This is how you start to sound genuinely fluent and natural. You're internalizing the patterns.
That's super helpful. I'm already thinking about what material I can use. I guess everyday conversations are a good starting point.
Definitely. Think about daily life situations. For instance, if you often talk about your morning routine, find an audio clip of someone describing their morning. If you like cooking, listen to cooking videos. The more relevant it is to your life, the more motivated you'll be, and the more useful the vocabulary will be for your speaking.
That's a smart approach. It keeps it practical. Now, I think it's time for our listeners to actually try this out. Can we do a little practice session?
Excellent idea, Ava. Let's do it. Listen carefully to each sentence and then try to repeat it immediately after I say it. Try to match my speed and intonation. Don't worry about being perfect. Just try your best to mimic me. Are you ready?
I'm ready. And listeners, you should be speaking along with us.
All right, here's our first sentence. Remember, listen and repeat quickly.
It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day.
Good job. Now let's try another one. Focus on the flow.
How are you doing today?
How are you doing today?
Excellent. Notice how "doing today" connects. You're not saying "doing" and then "today" separately. Let's try a slightly longer one, focusing on the rhythm.
I'm really excited about the weekend.
I'm really excited about the weekend.
Fantastic! Did you feel the stress on really and weekend? That's what makes it sound natural. Okay, one more. This one has a slightly different intonation.
Could you please pass the salt?
Could you please pass the salt?
Perfect. That rising intonation on salt for a question. You're getting the hang of it, Ava, and I hope our listeners are too. It's all about tuning into those subtle sounds.
That was actually really fun, and I could feel my mouth trying to adjust to the sounds. It's definitely different from just repeating words on their own. It feels more connected.
Right? It's like a muscle memory drill. And now let's hear a short mini conversation. Listen to how the two speakers interact, the flow of their speech, and then you can try to shadow both parts if you like, or just one.
Okay, I'm ready to listen for the flow and intonation. This is going to be good.
All right, let's imagine a conversation between two friends, Tom and Sarah, planning something.
Hey Sarah, what are you doing this weekend?
Sarah, oh hey Tom. Not much, just planning to relax, maybe catch a movie. Why do you ask?
Well, I was thinking of going hiking up North Mountain on Saturday. Want to come along?
Hiking? That sounds like fun. I haven't been hiking in ages. What time were you thinking?
How about we meet at the trailhead around 8:30 a.m.? That way we can beat the heat.
8:30 sounds good to me. I'll pack some snacks and water. See you then.
Awesome. See you Saturday.
That was a great example, Lily. I was really trying to hear the connections between words like wanna, come along instead of want to come along, and see ya Saturday. It's so natural.
Right? That's the real English that people speak. And by shadowing that conversation, you're not just practicing individual sounds, you're practicing conversational flow. You're learning how sentences connect in a natural way, how questions are asked, and how responses are given, all with the correct emotional tone.
I can definitely see how this builds confidence. If you practice enough, those natural sounds just become a part of your own speaking.
Exactly. And it's not just about pronunciation. When you shadow, you also improve your listening skills because you're paying such close attention to every sound. And it boosts your fluency because you're training yourself to speak without hesitation, without translating in your head.
That's a fantastic bonus. So, what are some final tips you have for our listeners to really make shadowing a regular and effective part of their English learning journey?
Absolutely. I have 3 key tips for you. First tip, don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency. Shadowing isn't about getting it 100% right every time. It's about showing up every day, or at least most days, and doing it. Even 5 to 10 minutes of focused shadowing daily is far more effective than an hour once a week. It's like going to the gym for your English muscles. Short, regular workouts yield the best results.
That's a relief. Sometimes the thought of doing something perfectly can be overwhelming and stop you from even starting. So consistency is key, even for short bursts.
Yes, absolutely. Just integrate it into your routine, maybe while you're getting ready in the morning, or during your commute, or even while you're waiting for your coffee to brew. There are so many small pockets of time you can use.
Okay, that's really actionable. What's your second tip, Lily?
Second tip, record yourself. I know, most people hate listening to their own voice, but honestly, it is one of the most powerful tools you have. Record yourself shadowing a short segment, then listen back and compare it to the original. You'll immediately hear where you're close and where you can improve. Sometimes we think we sound like a native speaker, but our ears might be playing tricks on us. The recording doesn't lie.
Oh, that's a tough one, but I agree it's essential. It's like looking in a mirror when you're styling your hair. You need to see what's actually happening, not just imagine it. I'll definitely try to be brave enough to record myself.
It takes courage, but it's incredibly rewarding. You'll notice patterns in your own speech that you can then actively work on. For example, you might realize you always flatten the intonation at the end of a question, and then you can focus on lifting it next time.
That's a very practical way to use recordings. And your final tip?
My third tip is focus on chunks, not just individual words. As we discussed earlier, English flows in chunks of meaning, not isolated words. When you shadow, try to mimic the entire phrase or short sentence as a single unit, rather than focusing on pronouncing each word perfectly on its own. This will naturally help you with linking words, stress, and rhythm. For example, instead of thinking, "How are you doing?" think of it as "How are you doing?" as one fluid sound.
That's a huge mindset shift. It moves away from thinking word by word, which is what we often do when we're learning, to thinking in natural speech patterns. It makes so much sense.
It really does. And when you get those chunks right, your speech immediately sounds more fluent, more natural, and less like you're translating in your head. It becomes ingrained in your muscle memory. It's like learning a song. You don't learn note by note. You learn the melody and the phrases.
This has been such an eye-opening session, Lily. I feel genuinely motivated to try shadowing more consistently. It seems like such a powerful yet simple tool that anyone can use right away.
That's exactly what it is, Ava. It's accessible to everyone, and the results can be truly amazing. You'll notice your confidence soaring as your pronunciation becomes clearer and your speech flows more naturally. It really helps you to find your voice in English.
I'm excited to put these tips into practice. It's not just about sounding good, it's about feeling more comfortable and confident when speaking, which is what all English learners want.
Absolutely. So, to all our amazing listeners out there, we really encourage you to give shadowing a try. Start today, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Pick a short clip, listen, and then shadow along. You'll be amazed at the progress you can make.
Yes, absolutely. And don't forget to practice those simple sentences we shared. Speaking aloud is the key to unlocking your fluency. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes.
That's right. If you found this episode helpful, please show us some love by hitting that like button, sharing it with your fellow English learners, and subscribing to Thesaurus Thrive for more practical tips and lessons. Your support really helps us reach more people.
And remember, every little bit of practice adds up. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're just steps on your path to fluency. Keep practicing daily, and you'll see incredible improvements in your pronunciation and overall speaking confidence.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. We loved sharing these insights with you. Keep thriving with your English, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye for now, everyone. Happy shadowing!